Here's a way to make a simple block letter capital F a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to start out by drawing the letter F in a yellow marker, and that's kind of the skeleton that I'm going to use to create the block letter. And I'm taking a black Sharpie flip chart marker and I'm tracing around that F, tracing around the outer edges and turning it into a block letter. You could just leave it there, but I'm going to turn it into a little bit more interesting form of a block letter by creating a wavy line. And this time I'm doing it on the inside of the letter. So I'm just creating a wavy line on the inside of the letter around the line that I just drew, which created the block letter on the outside of that F. Now I'm coloring it in. And when you draw a wavy line next to a straight line, you end up with little bumps or they're kind of like half circles or some kind of a scalloped look. Or if you leave them plain and clear, uncolored, it almost gives the illusion of like lace around the edges, but I'm not going for that kind of look, so I'm coloring them in a solid black. This is also very helpful if you color things in solid around the edges of a letter, especially when they're going to be viewed from a distance, it makes them easier to read from far away because they're darker. A thin line is harder to read the farther away you get. A thicker line is easier to read as you get farther and farther away. So I'm coloring in the outer edges of this wavy line on my letter F. And now, as you can see around the outer edges of that F, it's much brighter. It's, well, not really brighter, it's dark. It's dark, it's bolder. Hopefully it's easier to read from a little bit farther away. With the yellow F that's in the middle, generally when I am done creating the letter, then I'll go back and color it in solid. So I used a yellow marker to start with this letter, so I would probably color it in a solid yellow or a darker color like a dark blue, a dark red, something so that yellow F doesn't really show. If you're creating this to be seen from a distance, that yellow marker probably isn't going to show up if you're drawing on a white page. You could also use a pencil to make kind of that skeleton F and then erase it later if you want, or just if you draw really lightly, you don't even need to erase it. Or if you've been doing this a while, like I have, I generally don't pencil them in first. I just go straight for the markers. However, it is nice to use this technique if you are doing more than one letter at a time, like a full word. Then you get your spacing nice and even, and it's a lot easier that way. As you can see on this one, it's quite large, so it has filled the page. Of course, you could make these whatever size you want, but keep in mind, the larger you do them, the more room you'll have to play. So that's a simple way to make a kind of a wavy-edged capital F.